Lawyer Kusi appeal no wabeka safa ho appeal ni de omadi nkunim enti adro bianka dem after say mama Akosua Serwaa lande wo Ghana wakwa no we first time a oni ni mienu emiti after say ogitum so obeye ne lawyer na afi waka ama ne say ono nkuto ne yira Daddy Lumba ware no asasi so na ware o mo ware no Daddy Lumba dimi ware obi anka ne ho Daddy Lumba betima wo 20 million aka ne ma ho basa ware apa say Daddy Lumba ware obi abeka ne ho de ontimi ware bi nka ne ho eno ene ne start ye e wo high court aje say wagina ma o se da bi de lawyer ne de judge ne de baaye no enti ase anim enti me appeal enti o se appeal ni de enkunim abotire no ebo ma me Akosua Serwaa moma so aka se be pie woni pa ni so GreaterOne TV ni fa dwenhwe to ne subscribe video so nyanye ya ne share modophobia enya bi enhwe lawyer Kusi ababonte abekirem de enti omukọ appeal no na appeal no omukọ no mawie bibia aka se enkunim abotire ni beba
picture visual bibia ekoso fine gentleman yo dasui lawyer William Kusi we sofo anisa Dominion Chambers ehona papa yi sebe ofa ni daily bread na oye Daddy Lumba ne yire Akosua Serwaa ana menka se ne yire panini a obey correction fine ne yire panini Akosua Serwaa ne lawyer wana ne court ko prepare ne ma ho a nyamencha de se ye nyina no akoda din okra bia ati ase lawyer wadawroma bro nya chi na ehu se o client walande na omuhia no airport na baby fe na ye bi tan enura ne nekura de kote ekura ne say wo ba Kumasi airport na nkrofo nim so obefo aeroplane meaning so na tu nifo a ma ne fa car eti na obedu Kumasi na o say ohun say ne nkrofo je to say o sanfa fm de eko airport no problem asemi me some ye mu din de say fm ne ebisam na mo kire yen because na me tie me nua Akosua opon ya morning show issue sa brantia so brantia won suma ma no ko gina ba bi mo ntim poda obeba be ka asem se do hu ni pepepe nti e no kora ma me no wo de ka na free and crime e bai ma se no hu se na chitafo wo prempe the first airport 20 no ko ho ana na wadaro mu makeka bom ye okuna ye kura wa ama e de ne ma ne bai de botai wo de bai ne se
about holidays or buffy asanko into oba na just say amani be also ye was in Ghana no also court or lawyer wa ha about also besrami senkrata bu ha ye be shomani ahwem afuto bi amaje free no in terms of facts I'm so legal advice them wonam some German and that is exactly what she came to do. So far so good. Do Accra almost of Akosua Aba Kumasi or church and penny for especially what we did no a brand new Ghana no. We are in Krabi also ye be make sure so I answer no. We are was uncle near to Juma so I pin it a good super ye Juma. Once a process and you know the hands of best in some evidence in sense no. Do ya kujina mama no sanity
Awushafo ne oba panini Akosua Serwaa the late icon Daddy Lumba na yire na yire panini ye na ebon komo no na owura no monyamfo lawyer William Kusi kofara ba kofa Dominion Chambers by ne client ana oba wo koma no ana wodi nanim amamra atoto ne nyina yi ama no the late Daddy Lumba na yire ene ne ebon komo no lawyer wadawroma me yi adesua wasua si nchen a with all due respect fa cheme menim se wo akani ede na si wo kwan se obetu obayifo se omra maye okuna yi ni bi na mpo daachi bia no since ayi na chi no na fe no oba na nkrofo chihira no ade ama otim se obetu se omra na afe ya bibia wi na ana ho de nya wasam
no sir you share circumstances now the year na she couldn't have come because a day before the year there was an application before the quarter na abusuafo no executive restrain the court from moving ahead the head of family from moving ahead to perform the funeral and she had that information and we knew that circumstances the facts before the court. The baby a court may grant it. Because at the time, no, never to apply application a call. Police headquarters said, "Omo person who they said buy a lumber free moon," which was a criminal matter. And the police actually almost can complain no more young woman. And I was surprised. I was not surprised when initially it came to court not grant application. No? Because we are very already. I couldn't obey see about the national investigations. So I was more surprised when we had the judge in Assam Fre, the lawyers involved, some of them and years of no proof.
Now, lawyer, I want to own him. Now, me pay mrebia. Emranim ni biti say mumubi. Ebeka court asem na ya yen sem fatam ya bisa. Because me jina fidie so ye adwuma. Matiefo etie me bedi madanse say. Ye di nkomo no an ehunu say. Abusua no say omon empene so nti say ni na court nye. E na court bua ye say the abusua ne kan modu. Ni say nti won mo mutumi. Eti ye de yesese ye niam afira fidie so akono ye beti ne say court say. Emma okra ye frɛ ma ekoba ase e wo se court say si enkonya foforo na emum enya court dem wo se de o kan asem foforo no e ba to minim kwa mfa sa mudi mu nsem na ehfa na mudi asem a edimu na yin na mo tira enim.
It was a strange occurrence. Adia yenye court chini so court ma order bisa so a fontus official which is his official capacity to pronounce on the matter and has been taken away from him. So this will be the application number or an appeal. It sounded impossible for a court to recall the parties involved. Where is his jurisdiction? It will be for application, but to lawyer near the application. How did they send the application? It was and do file before I best file na adiachi. Near several. The best several process. And until now, if you taken good faith near ma and near my cost so send a bear mistake go maybe to my correcting later. And that is what happened. A strange appearance. Where the judge's opinion, the procedure was wrong. So we have situation where the judge opines like they see Kumasi during the argument, no. Correct. You can go on appeal and challenge his decision. But where the assembly it's unheard of. But it happened though, and I'm happy that it has gone in the records, say ABC or Ghana. How many days you had the law school?
Pepi ni yakasa. Oka wasem na kakra wia. Now the education tato. Minim ase sabi the oti ho a odi asem no ba no oye emranim ni a wasua de se de wasua de no. Na denia sabi with all due respect or the common sense be kan ho. Eti wo common sense na de kan ho na ene ne de na anye pa nka be ha.
Emranim common sense. What do I say? Yeah, common sense in Muyamra, Nyasan Kekakofa. Continue white. Monya experience will be as some common sense. Then go apply. Where you work law school, you have to tell you kind of district court, not about circuit, and not about high court. All these things is to train your mind to make legal decisions. And do the common sense could be as a more high court. I said, what?
As I'm Emra.
You may not like it, but that is the law. You have to apply it as it is. And that is why we are challenging the decision.
Nice one. Our client, apart from holidays or buy, or I've been full be far or kunu wone hone and among beer was so maudin and money 2 year or court in one.
Onya above you, Vesla, Abushia. My grandma in India, a Casao phones into a and Sabbath to say him. I don't for buy jobs in a Ghana for Sidon. It tells you that Ghanaians disagree with the decision of the court. Ghanaians disagree with the decision of the court.
Nipa ne question airport one na ma dwayemo kesene na.
Of course, no, don't bring me back and talk about together.
Nipa wo omko hia maami wo airport one. Ene wo mo ba yi no wa quantify ahwe.
I'm a quantify.
Yeah, in a dozen.
The funeral, let me tell you about the relative term of the numbers. In fact, numbers, no, but that is even a lighter side of it. Because with himself, Akosua Serwaa's arrival in Ghana was uncertain. And they took just a few hours to organize those people we saw at the airport. And the advertising and Kabir. A year to the advertising, yeah, big boss. And so, I Nipama, a monthly district in a zone baby. What I say? You could see how light the attendees were. So, auntie, compare every fan says, I could just say, I just obey a year. And I just say, a Kohai, Kumasa Bakobeka, and an answer. Yankum.
Social media they say they no ye dan paso kro so o hewachi cause social media na manipa ye fie nyina just security bia e porous
no kra na me ayi no sura abofo no anya roja de ni me so mo sura abofo no obo me ho ba kese pa anti amayo ahotoso sanya me doye unim ze ali baba me fale api no. There were threats. My wife was even threatened. Emma pressure, domestic pressure, na minya happy. Because that pressure, if it is obvious that we had a bad case, why will anybody threaten anybody? We are standing for justice and we will get it. I'm so confident.
Lawyer, yes, na Papa Shikra, Kratabi, and Crofo feel say, original certificate now more than a photocopy or two baby said and crophobic can one. As I mean, my card is a document in Bao. And no crest or the certificate Biaba. Not Sanetia, Obama Kama or Muria Cocha.
Certificate, I mean, some true. In court, we usually send the copied ones. They did that. And we got there to send us a certificate. And yeah, copies in the court. You now say, judges, okay, or the 2 million or so originals. Yeah, Akosua Serwaa envelope or the mail by in a cry. Yeah, the court. So originals in and we were all surprised when the judge says, office the acquiring baby now, and your original now. And look, the level of
judge, who say, judge, not doing and say, and your original, I'm acquiring baby.
Now the document no doubt is you could see it's not from Ghana.
Because
your family book
apart from your Collab now obe present here dey bia judge bi beka say enye no obi akofa free baby na say e o say ebisa ho asem yi pa then pa na beba ntia e man agene be ne say mo koye free baby na enye original
agene body no impinu me integrity kura. Okay. To suggest that me no go for fake documents about court. What for? What am I going to gain from it? Because I know sincerely that the parties, the lawyers on the other side knew it was genuine. The judge herself knew it. Now, what's your judgment? Judge, initial stages of the judgment will say evidence will say or ordinance marriage certificate from Germany. They are only second one and until the document cannot be original. Otherwise, it wouldn't sit with her decision. And I want to make her say,
Clay.
Exactly. If she has to decide against us, then she has to say that the certificate was fake. Otherwise, there was no window for her to decide that both of them were wives. And on a lighter side, she has always sought to explain that she met them in the middle and then promoted peace. You get the point? And she, in an attempt to promote peace, she has to say our certificate was fake. My certificate, I can tell on authority, it wasn't fake. It was the original certificate from Germany. So, Netiano.
Wow. Lawyer, that's it. Now, what are Ajuma Ekurawi? Abushia, SCA that Lumba, Mamre Quanshwe, appear in Hobby here.
Oh, in fact, Osha in Krata, medical quarter, and you're from the medical quarter. May seek for injunction because we saw a rush to bury the body when we were talking about who is a wife and who can perform. These were the two things that the court had to address as far as we are concerned. If you can really from a bushia for natural file process, if you they ought to do a postmortem. And that the opinion is not even the rightful person to conduct the funeral. I know Abusian for they had their lawyer. Maybe the status of Akosua Serwaa as a wife is what I was prosecuting. And it is as relevant today as it was when the action was taken, because I've said this, said the disease is cancerous. Also because it's cancerous. I tell you, low, my bet spread just say alone, you know. It is very bad for a court to look at the certificate of a country like Germany and say that a year fake. Couldn't say in diplomatic circle, that country can also say they won't accept any certificate from Ghana because of that decision. And I will be irresponsible if I sit down for that to happen. And what I can do is to prosecute an appeal, which will probably look at it differently and say that, oh, it was an original certificate. Because German certificate, the idea, one social media, people were posting this. There were no signatures of the parties on the certificate. And it will conclude that because the Akosua Serwaa about the certificate signature, no, the almost sign. Everything we said was true, except that they had to refuse it in order that they can create peace in court. But it is child knowledge to be worried under German, won't be worried second wife. I don't know. I ABC. So to succeed in doing that, they have to say, we couldn't lead evidence to show so what Germany. But Mamma can't so one the represent your Dobroni court. No. In his evidence was see Lumba Kachum so worry for Germany. Nadana mo worry no. Ye bisa no see our now I didn't break it down beyond record. One kasi were good no. I break the records are there for people missing microphone proceedings, especially almost criticizing it. No. They should look at the proceedings and know exactly what happened. They admitted Lumba had told them on 2 occasions that he was married in Germany. And then Bizarre said, did you look at the certificate of divorce? They didn't. And I'm saying, oh, I'm 419. That's the trend of the cross-examination. That if you knew somebody was married under German law, that's about you have to ask for a decree of divorce. Otherwise, it could happen that the marriage was subsistent. You get the point? So, to me, there was evidence overwhelming. Abusuapenyi says that he wasn't there when they were married, he wasn't there when they were divorcing. To them, was MDR. Although Bruni wouldn't necessarily Lumba Kachrom say, our dinner a good one customer could chuchum. And so there was even evidence, apart from the issue of certification and all. I say Mranama Kwanso Jitum, even though there was no certification. Until we are confident. And yes, Lumbanani and Bessie, and I hear be and through Dobro, but we want the truth. What does it?
That's all. Or say, na enye the legend Daddy Lumba, what wono ye see no. Ena eha wonom. Ena omoni odobroni so nia sembia na emum no kre. Was nothing but the truth. shall set you free. Tinokrana na mo peno a meboa.
Ali baba.
Papa.
Unim says obi ho else protect over sankula nketenkete na ya wo. And we are very sensitive and mindful about that. We are not irresponsible. But you see, marriage is a big institution. Every society, marriage media society, break it down. Yeah, and Yalishemra, so called Ware, and by a month, the second one. We should respect that.
Sure.
Obaso Wari Tua, Amania Wadi or Wadia, which is a man boss. I can vote the for Ebro. Muslims, I can vote, you can marry more than 4. Once it is under customary marriage. Why? Who is compelling them to marry under those ordinance laws so that they can marry? Who is compelling them? If you make a choice, you should live by it. You can't get the court to say, I don't respect your certificate because it has not been certified, when the facts are quite obvious. And what do we do in court? Justice.
Of course. The
truth is very important. You can't gloss over it. And you see, we refer to the judge, say, the Supreme Court has several said the court should not rely on technicalities and for them to defeat justice. It is so when the facts are there, you don't say when the law has given a caveat, say a certified crana, that's a mreni. We took 8 days to hear a complete case. Ghana, what to be that day? 8 days at the case that we wanted to cooperate with the judge to come to the end before the funeral, which we did. And you see that we have been quiet about the judgment. Because appealing, he has ever commented too much. We go to the course of appeal. We only come in when people are blaming, trying to blame us. They are perfect work within that short time. The next lawyers, organ do 5. The lawyer
I don't know.
Last week, a friend Frimpong. I'm not Frimpong.
Yeah, lawyer not Frimpong.
Mr. Una now social media so to I am pure so
what in the middle?
Because she is my classmate.
Okay, just a catch ray.
I'm a classmate.
Law school and basic.
Law school.
Well, okay.
Oh no, I jurisprudence we call no makwala. Any jurisprudence.
It's not the okay.
To be say warina or say for 15 years on yet. I mean, and you see the facts he was narrating he was threatening the law because you see they were ordinary resident in Germany or Bani Okunu or Ma Echo School or Majuma or Mufi or and a man no yes or Bagana one I deserted in your Wawadi. Wow, bag free our if you have Bagana no. Or Bano to German desert. How can anybody even have that level of reasoning? Unless we have anybody. And if the judge says that Odizeti Lumba, I mean, why? 1 + 1, I don't know 5 now. Maybe no, you German nationals. No one free Germany, but Ghana, also remember desert. I dare a logic.